Today's date is April 4th, 2015, and my name is Leslie Williams. How are you doing today? Now, title this YouTube video, How Gang-Stalking Expeditions Create Post-Traumatic Stress and Anxiety Disorders in Their Selected Targeted Individuals. I'm making this dinner as I'm preparing to eat. I'm making this video as I'm preparing to eat dinner, so at times I'm not going to be, facing the actual video camera as I'm talking, but just hear me out. And what I'm going to have to state, I'm going to have to state it creatively, and so I can hide the identity pertaining to specifically who I may be actually talking about pertaining to the target of gang stalking in relation to the techniques of how the perpetrators of this crime intentionally, with complete malice, aforethought, and criminal intent, purposely, intentionally create post-traumatic stress in the target individual, including based on already ascertained information about the target individual's psychology and or past experience, including past experience of abuse. Now, it's all over the internet that these gang stalking, organized stalking, wild, filthy, criminal, rat-ass whores, it's organized crime in the system at the federal, state, and local level, and they are working in any type and every type of employment description that you can think of that is in the system, including fire department personnel, EMS employees, regular ambulance services personnel, nurses in area neighborhood hospitals, psychiatrists and psychologists as well in neighborhood area hospitals, police officers, judges, lawyers, probate lawyers, prosecutors, members of the DA's office, and I'm talking about in any city, state, or county. Bear with me and you will understand, okay, the subject matter of this video, because my descriptions are going to first what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay out a foundation, and then as if you were building a brick house. And then what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be describing how they operate. Each brick will be a foundation for the next brick. Each brick will be a technique, maneuver, all of it designed to bring about the motivation. Not just the criminal motivation of why they're doing what they're doing to the target, but the motivation to create post-traumatic stress. Read between the lines pertaining to who am I actually referring to, pertaining to who the target is. Alright, here we go. In organized stalking and gang stalking expeditions, and I would think that more than likely at least 98% of my descriptions pertaining to their methods, tactics, maneuvers, schemes, and employment descriptions can be Googled and cross-referenced, and YouTube, and cross-referenced to either organized stalking and or gang stalking. Stay with this video, you will be glad that you did if you do. And any target individual that is out there, remember this video. In fact, I would save it in a playlist if I were you on YouTube. Hold on. Now, I'm making my dinner, as I stated. I've been working all day. I have been made homeless as a result of being a gang stalking victim. My rent was stolen flat out, right out of the mail, as a result of me being gang stalked in another state. Now, you can go to Google and type in interstate stalking and gang stalking, and you will see that practically every single targeted individual is discussing about how that they've been stalked from one state to another, and then back to any other state that they had originally came from. Absolutely. I'm in California. California is over 3,000 miles away from Michigan. So how do they know that I was coming to California? How did they know that I left Michigan to come to California, San Diego in 2006 between 1 and 38 days? How did they know that I left Michigan, okay, to go to Connecticut, and then from Connecticut come to California, San Diego, in 2011? There's information all over the internet concerning me being gang stalked in Michigan, and some of those blogs were posted by the perpetrators from Michigan. Absolutely. Hold on. Alright, so I'm going to stay on task here. I came to California, San Diego, because I figured if I was going to be homeless, I might as well be homeless in environments and in weather that will not harm my physical integrity as much, like snow, 30-degree below weather, which I literally had to sleep in Michigan. I literally had to sleep in a tent in 30-degree below weather. Okay? I'm not going to say for how long, because the perpetrators in the system will take anything you state and use it against you to imply that you're mentally ill and or can't take care of yourself and or that you're a threat to yourself or others. And this is where the syndicated probate lawyers come in. Racketeering. They create the homelessness for these objectives, including human trafficking, organized crime, syndicated run group homes. Now, let me get to the meat and potatoes pertaining to the specific subject matter of this video. Why do and how do organized stalking, gang stalking perpetrators that are in the system using their employment descriptions to do it, and make no mistake about it, parole officers and probation officers, prosecutors, public defenders, office personnel are involved in gang stalking in reference to perpetrating it and using their employment descriptions to achieve any part of the criminal motivation that they have for the target. Make no mistake about it. Hold on. Now, just in case you're wondering what I'm going to make for dinner, I'm having hot dogs and french fries. That's right. Now, excuse my intermittent momentary comical postures, but it's just my way of trying to put a smile on your face. Hold on. Okay, so, oh, and by the way, you know, these little filthy rats, let me tell you another mechanism, stupid ass, and if I swear in this video, excuse that as well, because I'm actually a practicing Christian woman who is literally, I don't swear out in public, and I don't really even swear internally to myself, but just every now and then it comes out, so just bear with me. Anyways, let me tell you about the audacity that these little filthy red-ass whores will do in the system, because in order to get syndicated probate control, you know what they literally try to do? They literally attempt to try and state that a target is bipolar, dimensional, schizophrenic with persecutory ideations, which means that they have ideas that they're being persecuted. They literally set off gang stalking to induce paranoia and to make them appear crazy victims so they can make these types of false mental diagnoses. It's done for the probate control, and it's done for continued insurance fraud. It's a clever form of racketeering and insurance fraud. Just two aspects of the criminalities these wild, filthy, red-ass animal whores are connected to. It's organized crime in the system. Hold on. Now, so I've made a couple comedy videos in order to be able to put a smile on some of my regular viewers' faces so they wouldn't be depressed every single time they watch one of my videos. The system and the assholes in it might even go far as one day as trying to say, Miss Williams, we believe she's bipolar. One day she's down and out, she's down and angry or upset because she thinks she's being gang stalked, and the next day she's making a comedy video. This is the literal audacity, okay, the literal mind rape, menacide audacity that these little filthy criminal whores will literally act out and play out in court and then try to pass it out as truth for the probate control. Now, alright, so what I'm going to do right now is literally get to the meat and potatoes pertaining to this subject matter of this video. Go to Google. You can either do it as I'm talking or afterwards, or the best thing to do to see that I am telling the absolute literal truth in this video is to thoroughly and meticulously pick apart all my descriptions and research each one, cross-reference to gang stalking, organized stalking as well, and then synthesize all the information together so you can see that I'm telling you the truth, and that the criminal intent and the complete malice of forethought in reference to intentionally, purposely creating post-traumatic stress and anxiety disorders in a targeted individual is one of their main methodologies, because it assists in, but not limited to, the illegal syndicated probate control and wearing the target down, breaking them like a horse. Okay, so just hear me out. Not too long ago, I was on Twitter. I think it was right when the Chris Kyle movie, The Sniper, was out, and everybody was like on fire on Twitter concerning Chris Kyle, you know, our American hero who got killed, I think, in the last couple years ago, within the last 2 years. He was the guy that the American Sniper movie was about. So as a result of that movie being out and everybody, you know, soliciting it online on Twitter, everybody was tweeting about it. So some other individuals online were posted this little tweet with a picture that showed an American soldier holding his arms over his ears is, oh, I think it was maybe around no, it didn't have anything to do with July 4th because it just happened. Just bear with me. It was a picture of an American soldier with his hands over his ears by himself going like this as firecrackers were going on in the background. Now, we all know what that's about. If you're educated at all concerning what our war heroes are coming back with post-traumatic stress and the sound of firecrackers that can mimic gunfire. The sound of the firecrackers, 4th of July, sounds just like a gunfire. That is stimulating an episodic memory pertaining to what he had endured when he was over in Afghanistan, Iraq, Vietnam, whatever. And if you're a veteran that's ever been in any type of infantry war theaters, we all know that that is true. Not me, because I've never been in the military, but I meant like all you guys and girls, you know that's true. There's also other different types of sounds and things that can stimulate post-traumatic stress symptomologies because they're attached to the traumatic events. So here's the meat and potatoes. Let me see how many minutes I already went through. Okay, I already went through 11 minutes and 12 seconds. Now, so I'm gonna actually probably start having to talk real fast. So this doesn't turn out to be an extremely long video, but it is purposeful. Stay with it, please. Now, I'll get back to talking more in depth about what post-traumatic stress is in a little while. But in order for you to see how it's intentionally used in gang stalking expeditions, go to Google and type in, because you can go back and listen to this video at your leisure. Go to Google and type in gang stalking and anchoring, and when I say gang stalking, in a separate search, type in also organized stalking and anchoring. That way I don't have to constantly repeat it in the video. So, because there's been really good, I've seen very good blogs that have been put online that have been titled organized stalking, and then I've seen very good blogs online that are titled gang stalking. So you're going to get some really great information pertaining to both descriptions. Okay, so my suggestion, do it that way. Okay, research both to each description, like gang stalking, anchoring, organized stalking, anchoring. Okay, and then also gang stalking and anchoring sensitization. Now, anchoring and sensitization are the same, work hand in hand. Okay, and they are. It's a technique that can also be delivered through the direct conversation method, which can also be Googled in the aforementioned descriptions, in the aforementioned ways. So let's get down to the meat and potatoes. Let me put on my shirt here real fast. It'll give that helicopter a second to go by too, and it'll give me a chance to light a cigarette. And if you're a kid, don't smoke. Stay with this video. What I'm going to do is I'm going to right now give you a in-your-face description of what they did to this one girl as a result of her being a gang stalking victim, and this description is on the internet. And what I'm going to do is, the reason why I'm going to describe it, because I want you to see how anchoring works, how sensitization works, and how it was the criminal intent to do it to this girl for these two reasons, anchoring and sensitization. Sensitizing a target to a sound, a word, a phrase, a physical gesture of any kind, a type of person, a type of threat. Okay, that's anchoring, where you will anchor whatever creates the fear in the target's mind. Words, phrases, physical gestures, sounds, certain types of people, certain types of threats, and even certain types of environments. Just bear with me and you'll understand what I'm talking about in about 2 seconds. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to give you this description pertaining to what they did to this girl, and this little description is on the internet, so you can research it in order to be able to see that it is, that this one description, this one episode of what they did to this girl is on the internet to be a described situation pertaining to it happening to an actual woman because of gang stalking. Now, oh, and just let me say this real fast as well, just trust me. Go to YouTube and type in gang stalking bullying on steroids. That way you can at least see that it's been covered. This crime has been covered on national radio shows, national TV shows, and local news broadcasts. I've even been on national radio shows exposing this horrific criminality. I literally have. On Ground Zero with Clyde Lewis on 9/17/13, and he does have archived shows. Hold on. And on other dates. Okay, here's that description. What they did as a result of gang stalking this girl is they had her raped. Okay, it's a little graphic, but just bear with me. They had this girl raped, and as the rape was occurring, they shoved a sock in her mouth. Then after the rape, well, as a result of them doing this, the sock became associated to this traumatic event. Whenever you are attacked mentally, okay, psychologically, emotionally, financially, or physically, you automatically, instinctively have post-traumatic stress because of the way that the brain deals with a traumatic event that is happening to your person or anything that could eventually affect your person. Like if you lose a job, you're going to automatically go into that fear mode. If I don't get another one, I'm going to be homeless, or could be, or I can't feed my kid, whatever. Okay, so there's many different types of things that can cause post-traumatic stress, but just, so let's get back to that description. What they did with this girl was they raped her and shoved a sock in her mouth as they were raping her. They did this to form the association to the socks, to the memory. Now, I've already made videos concerning about how when you experience a traumatic event, whenever you experience a traumatic event, like a car crash, somebody physically assaulting you, sexually assaulting you, threatening to do so can even create post-traumatic stress. Threatening that somebody's going to kick your butt or worse. Your brain automatically, instinctively knows that you are in harm's way in that nanosecond. Literally. Literally. It's the way the brain is wired. Okay? Through evolution. Now, as a result, the brain, especially when it's perceiving that it's going to be like, if a truck's coming and it's going to get hit by it right before a car crash, or if somebody is approaching them with a violent attitude, the brain instinctively automatically shifts, okay, to a hypervigilant mindset, and then a hyper alert, and adrenaline starts, and when the traumatic event begins, the brain shifts to a disassociated state. This is the way the brain's mechanism is wired. This is the way the brain is wired, and this mechanism kicks in for self-preservation purposes. Because the consciousness can only handle so much of a traumatic episode. If it didn't shift to disassociation, the brain would crash just like a computer. It would literally cause the mind to split. Okay? And the perpetrators of gang stalking know this. In fact, it is being strongly suggested on the internet that gang stalking was developed by military doctors and psychiatrists and or CIA doctors. You can go to Google right now and type in gang stalking psychological operations and look how many blogs come up. Now, when this traumatic event is occurring, the mind becomes automatically disassociated, which means that it's not thinking, it's not involved in critical thinking. Okay, it might be involved in instinctive thinking, but it's not involved in critical thinking. Just bear with me. The point being is that it has shifted from consciousness to a disassociated state. Now, what the gang stalking expedition will do is that they plan this rape of this girl. They plan the rape and they plan to use the socks. Why? Because as she was being traumatized, the brain automatically went into the disassociated state while the socks became associated to the disassociation. Now, why did they do this? Because every time then, after the rape was over, the person who was responsible for the rape would get their friends and family members and more to get around her and constantly remind her about the rape by reintroducing socks around her towards her. Okay? In clever ways. For instance, she'd get on a bus. They would make sure that they would sit in front of her and talk about socks that they were going to go buy that day while one of them is pulling up their socks. Okay? Including wearing the same type that was wore during the rape. Okay? I mean, that was shoved in her sock, or in her mouth during the rape. They would get business employees to walk up to her in stores and say, "Did you forget these socks?" They would hand her a package of socks. Because the business community is brought on board in gang stalking when a target is flagged and tagged to be a gang stalking target. Google it. Hold on. Let's take a look at that statement alone. Did you, a person, it's directly said for their neurolinguistic programming techniques. It's done to, did you, as a person, forget these socks? It's done a reminder. But it's also done to, it's like double speak. Okay? Forget, but it's actually done to remind. These are the little schemes of gang stalking. Okay, so it was done to stimulate the disassociation, and then the disassociation, and to stimulate the episodic memory that is associated to the disassociation. Now, this is done to kick in the post-traumatic stress. These are the literal, horrific, heinous criminalities of gang stalking. Now, let me just put it to you this way. Remember, read between the lines. I read a specific target individual's emails online concerning about how their mother intentionally would kick her out over bogus bullshit, and as a result she ended up homeless, and she was constantly trying to survive the homelessness with no money. Back in the day, this person didn't know that social services might be able to help her out, because this person, when all this was going on, this person had never heard of social services helping out people. This person never heard of food stamps before or anything like that. They didn't have the transportation services or the money to even get there if they would have ever even thought of it. Hold on. So just trust me on this. So the gang stalking expedition cleverly and creatively infiltrated her life through respectable environments like churches. Okay, and a couple other things happened to this specific woman as well. Just bear with me. Now, what this was, a self-help group. So the self-help group postured themselves up to act like respectable members of the community and even heroes of pertaining to helping other people that would come to that self-help group, including her. It was done to get her to depend on them. Absolutely. Okay. And they taught her how to abandon her own thinking and to depend on them. Now, that's all I'm going to state about those particular people, those particular types of people. But the point being is this, is that in organized stalking, gang stalking expeditions, this self-help group kept brainwashing her into believing that the only way that you're going to get out of this particular problem that they even brainwashed her into believing that she had was to open up about what caused her to have the problem. So this woman would talk about how her mother would kick her out, how her brother Michael had been violent towards her, how the past homelessness of her had created post-traumatic stress. Then what these people did was cleverly and creatively caused her mentally to want to leave this group right before the gang stalking of her openly started. They were involved in gang stalking, she just didn't know it. Okay? Now, remember what I said about how you can go to Google and type in gang stalking psychological operations? And you can also go to Google and type in how gang stalkers will take a psychological profile of a target. Hold on. Now, so what they did was they baited her to open up about things that bothered her, about why she had post-traumatic stress. Fear of being homeless, fear of losing an apartment she got because of how bad circumstances had caused her to be homeless as well. Losing a job. Okay? So basically what they did, now before I go forward, I gotta interject some other details so you'll see the whole scheme. Go to Google and type in landlords and property owners in gang stalking, mail theft and mail delayment and gang stalking. Okay? Including rent that's mailed, certified mail return receipt. You can also go to Google and type in how they will either gain access to empty apartments that are adjacent to a target, above, below, or next to, or all sides, or how they will solicit current tenants in these apartments to engage in gang stalking methodologies towards her, to basically cause her to live in a constant, non-stop environments of hostility, harassment, mental abuse that is creatively brought about against her just at the apartment complex, not including also the mental harassment, mental abuse, psychological violence that is brought about against every targeted individual along all their routes every day. Now, I gave you an example about how they'll anchor a sock, which can be called a stimuli, to a traumatic event in order to stimulate the traumatic event in the target's mind to stimulate disassociation. When you're disassociated, you're not thinking clearly, because disassociation is very close, I believe, to the unconscious and subconscious levels. You're not thinking, because you're not consciously aware, okay, at that specific moment in time. So what these filthy whores will do is take a psychological profile of the target and find out what has caused them to have prior problems, what has caused them to possibly have post-traumatic stress. And then they will develop a terror campaign around it in order to keep the target individual in a constant, non-stop, traumatized effect by constantly stimulating what the post-traumatic stress is associated to through disassociation. Now, how would they do this? Well, this particular person had post-traumatic stress due to violence, her brother being violent towards her, and her mother creating homelessness, and bad circumstances that created homelessness. Okay? Hold on. Like losing a job. Okay? So, what these filthy rats would do is bait her to open up about it so they could learn about what makes her tick, about what makes her think, about what makes her not be able to think. Disassociation. Okay? And then what they would do is get landlords and property owners on board, okay, to make her believe that, like through staged events at the apartment complex, that she would be blamed on. Am I going to get evicted from this? Constantly threatening to steal her rent. Constantly engaging in behaviors to make her believe that she was going to get evicted because of the rent not being received and or because of staged events that were happening towards her, concerning her at the apartment complex, while they had already anchored the landlord's physical participation in the gang stalking. In other words, the whole goal was to keep her in a constant anxiety state about being either evicted or losing the apartment because the rent would be stolen. And then they would bring it about. This was done intentionally to form the mental association to the gang stalking, creating the homelessness of her and being responsible for the crime of it. Just like they got around that girl and constantly reintroduced her to socks. Okay? Now, hold on a second. "57 minutes. I'm going to give you an example of this. What they're doing with me is literally getting around me and repeating gang stalk everywhere I go, every single day, everywhere I go. I'm about ready to play you right now 2 separate 15-second audio files that come from 2 separate events, 2 separate dates, 11 months apart, at a distance of 160 miles apart. Do you hear individuals say gang stalk and oh my god, okay, on this bus, and then a woman just says gang stalking? Listen. That occurred on a Yucca Valley bus route Landers, on December 11, 2012. Yucca Valley is 160 miles away from San Diego County, where I live, and where I left to go to Yucca Valley for 1 week. Okay? This is an event that took place on a sidewalk in La Jolla, right up the street from UCSD. Do you hear these 2 men both say gang stalk together? Then one says gang stalking, and then that same one says gang of stalking, I'm gonna fuck you up. Now, that's the word gang stalking is their way to intentionally, with complete malice aforethought and criminal intent, to psychologically harass me. It's psychological violence. It's done to constantly, consciously remind me that I'm being gang stalked by literally placing people around all my routes every day to repeat the literal name of the crime. Hold on. Okay? And they're not just hold on 1 second. Now, they're not just constantly getting around me and repeating the name of the crime that is happening to me, but they're also doing it the same exact identical way. Repeating gang stalk, oh my god, gang stalking, oh my god, gang stalker, oh my god, gang stalk weird, gang stalk crazy, suck my dick, stuff like that. Everywhere I go. 1,000 audio files do not lie. Absolutely. So right now you can go to YouTube and you can type in learning disabled woman gang stalk to Yucca Valley. And then in a separate search, learning disabled woman gang stalked in San Diego. Learning disabled woman catches gang stalking in your face. And when you research these YouTube videos, make sure that you look in the description of them because they hold additional evidence. They hold additional YouTube titles that hold additional evidence, and even some of them have blog titles. And when you go to these YouTube videos, make sure that you go into the channels of these YouTube videos, because there's hundreds of videos per channel. Now, why am I telling you all this? Well, if this woman that I was telling you about is me, and they took a psychological profile concerning me being homeless, and then all of a sudden I start losing my apartments right after the open gang stalking started. Well, am I being constantly threatened through creative means that the cops are going to come to my hiking area and arrest me for camping? When I was at my last hiking area, I was making videos throughout the entire year of 2013 and 14 that they had propped up some men to hike out about 100 feet away, and they did it within a week and a half of me moving there, from a location that was 35 miles away, off of Friars Mission Center. That hiking location was right off of Gilman Road in La Jolla. Within a week and a half of me moving there, from the location over by Friars Mission Center, which is in San Diego County, they set up a group of homeless men to camp out about 100 feet away, who yelled, "Gang stalk crazy, gang stalk, oh my god, gang stalk, why don't you come and steal her stuff, suck my dick, crazy, oh my god," gang stalk day and night, sometimes all day long, all the way up until 11 p.m. at night. They were also, it's called dark neurolinguistic programming techniques, where the theme of the statements is dark in nature, gang stalk, why don't you come and steal her stuff, suck my dick, gang stalk, oh my god, like something's gonna happen. Yeah, constantly. I made videos about it practically every day throughout the entire year of 2013 and 14. Now, let's think about this. These videos are online, so all you gotta do is go to YouTube and type in "Learning Disabled Woman Exposes Gang Stalking at HA Area." Learning Disabled Woman makes HA predictions. You'll find them. Absolutely. And when you go to these YouTube videos, when you bring them up, make sure that you go into the YouTube channel, because you'll see all the videos that I made concerning this before November 28th, 2013, which was that last audio file you just heard was dedicated to November 28th, 2013. It was either Thanksgiving Day or the day after. And that event occurred on Gilman Road. And one of the men that played a role in it, the one that was saying "be nice," was one of the men that they had propped up at that hiking area. Now, in those videos, I was also stating that, also at other times, that they were propping up bicyclists to ride their bikes by and say the same thing. And in those videos, I also stated how they got 2 separate students on 2 separate dates over at UCSD Price Center say, "Gang stalk, why don't you go and steal her stuff?" So let's take a look at this real fast. Here I am making videos throughout the entire year of 2013 and 14 stating that they were saying threats while they're saying gang stalking. I said that they were saying, "Gang stalk, why don't you come and steal her stuff?" And in some of the videos I said that they were saying, "Gang stalk, why don't you go and steal her stuff at UCSD?" And then I catch this event on Gilman Road on November 28th, 2013. What do you hear these men say? Okay? You hear them say, "Gang stalking, I'm gonna fuck you up." They're saying a threat as they're saying gang stalking. Just like they were saying, "Gang stalk, why don't you go and steal her stuff at UCSD?" And at the camping area, when they were using the homeless men and the bicycles to say, "Gang stalk, why don't you come and steal her stuff?" Now, I can prove that this event occurred on November 28, 2013 because it was caught on a tape recorder. Hold on a second. See, in gang stalking, they anchor the threat and is intentionally associated to gang stalking by saying gang stalking as the threat is occurring. That way, when the property would have got stolen, they would have known. They knew that I would have known that it was because of gang stalking. And this is done to put you in a victimized mindset and keep you in it. It's done to make you psychologically abused. It's done for psychological violence, and it's done to make you feel defeated, powerless, and hopeless because the filthy red-ass San Diego Police Department won't file a police report concerning it. But they'll fucking come to my hiking area and arrest me and give me a ticket for illegal lodging. The same exact methodology of GangStalk Oh My God, GangStalk Crazy, GangStalk Weird was caught inside the San Diego Police Department headquarters on July 24th, 2013, and inside the San Diego City Council meeting chambers the day Mayor Filner resigned on August 24th, 2013 on video. It's been caught happening and being said around me all over UCSD campus, SDSU campus, USD campus, and along all my routes, including on MTS Transportation Services, Rouse Grocery Store, La Jolla Village Square in La Jolla, and Rouse Grocery Store off of Friars Mission Center, and along all my routes. 1,000 audio files do not lie, and tape recorders cannot have a mental illness. So, again, like I said, they're also saying threats and even text messaging me threats that I'm going to be caught hiking and arrested for. Post-traumatic stress. It's done to keep you in a non-stop circular neural loop of what's going to happen to me today. What's going to happen to me now? Gang stalking, I'm going to fuck you up. They know they've had me assaulted 5 times, the last time being inside the San Diego courthouse on November 13, 2014, after I was arrested by SDPD for UCSD. I'm in San Diego, California. My name is Leslie Williams. So this is my way of showing you the anchored techniques of sensitization methods in order to keep you in a non-stop circular mental loop of what's going to happen to me today or what's going to happen to my property today, in order to keep you constantly thinking about the gang stalking of you. Let me give you another example real fast. When I was at my last hiking area, after those filthy rats moved, in April of 2014, the area that they were living in was still being used by some of their skanked out friends, and when they moved, they only moved 500 feet, not even 500 feet away, I'd say 130 feet away, on the opposite side of me, concerning where I was staying at. Okay? 2 skanked out men came to my hiking area on July 9th, 2014, and before they came to my hiking area, what one of them did was they walked up on a trail. See, because where my tent was, like say you see me right now, at that hiking area, picture me being at a tent at that hike, at another spot, me being in the tent, which is where I was on July 9th, 2014. Over off of Gilman Road. Now, what I did was I started hearing branches break, okay? And this is where the sensitization of sound comes in, anchoring a sound to a traumatic event. Just like they will sensitize a target to coughing, clearing your throat, even sneezing, through anchoring these sounds. Now, just hear me out. I've already proved to you in this video and have given you statements so you can research the cooperative material pertaining to what I was experiencing off of Gilman Road. Absolutely. On July 9th, 2014, I was assaulted at that area 2.5 days after I made a video at the very spot the assault took place at. I made a video on July 6th, the afternoon or early evening of July 6th, 2014, predicting I'd be assaulted or arrested at that area. 2.5 days later, I was literally brutally assaulted at the very spot the video picture was taken at. And the video was uploaded on the day of the 6th. And I can prove that the assault took place on July 9th because I called the police. And they came and made a police report. Now let's take a look at this. What did they do before that assault took place? Well, when you're living in the woods, you got, especially in San Diego, we got a massive drought that's been going on since 2011. There's a lot of dead trees, a lot of dead branches. Let me give you an example here real fast. Do you hear this? Do you hear that breaking? Let me do it one more time. I believe that there's a strong possibility that the person that propped up these 2 low-life skanks, okay, were told, well, let me backtrack for a second, okay. Picture me sitting in a tent in another location. Now, behind the area where my physical tent was, me being in the tent, there was a creek, a small little waterway, okay, for the water to run down through once it started raining, okay. And then on the other side of that was a cliff. Now, they had propped up their hiking area to be about 150 feet away on the other side of that little waterway. Okay, and then they created a ledge so they could walk up, back and forth on it in order to get closer to my area so they could say gang stalk every day and night. Okay, absolutely. Okay, I made videos about it. Okay. So what they had this one guy do, of the two, was they had him walk on the cliff that was on the other side of the waterway, me being on this side. So he would purposely walk on a bunch of, did they have him do this because of this? So he would break branches and sticks, okay? And then, and that would get my auditory attention. I would look up, see him, walk back and forth, breaking a lot of branches and sticks as he's doing it. Then once he does that, he walks over to my area by crossing over a dead tree that had fallen over the waterway, approaches me, demands my camera, and then assaults me. And why was this done? And what are they doing now? Are they coming up into this area and intentionally breaking sticks while having over here, and then having another person over there say, what are you going to do to the bitch? Do you understand? Remember the socks to the rape? That was a physical object they sensitized her to. Now, if you go to Google and realize that they're sensitizing targets to sounds, words, sounds, coughing, clearing your throat, okay? Now remember, the whole, another technique that they were using, another threat that they were using off of Gilman Road was not just, why don't you gang stalk, why don't you come and steal her stuff, but if you watch my videos that were made in 2013, you'll hear me stating that they were also threatening to call the police, okay? Now, I did not focus my lens to, let me see if I can show you what they did. They sent me a text message just stating that they were going to call the police and have them come to my hiking area, but I'm not sure if you're going to clearly be able to see it because I did not focus this lens before I started the video. Okay? It says individuals, this is me stating that, so this is an Exposing Truth Instagram's account, and it's a video picture of a tweet. It says individuals involved in gang stalking of TTTTT, which is me, just walked by her HA area, hiking area, and said, gang stalk, why don't you call the cops and get her out of here? This video, this tweet was made and then posted to Instagram on December 25th, 2014 at 10:08 a.m. They then sent me a text message, okay, that I took a snap screenshot of, just like I did with this tweet, literally stating that they were going to do it. I'm sending the police to your location now for illegal lodging and trespass, and explain that to social services when you get arrested again. Okay? Absolutely. Right there. Now, I know that you can't clearly see it, so you can, I've already made some videos pertaining to this, so I tell you what I do. After I get done making this video, which will be in 8 minutes, I'll take a video picture of this and then try and upload them on the same date. So just look in the YouTube channel, okay? Just look in the YouTube channel this video is dedicated to, and you'll find it. Now, you'll see the time on this, and then what you'll see is another video picture of the text message in reference to the details of it. It shows the time and date. The text message was sent after I made that tweet. It was sent at a later time on the same date. So basically what they're doing is trying to anchor fear in my mind that the police will be called and that I'll be arrested for illegal lodging, because they know that they perpetrated a criminal arrest of me for illegal lodging at that hiking area. Okay? So, this is done to constantly put fear in your, and now it's also being done to impose fear in my mind that if I get arrested for illegal lodging, that I'll, hang on a second. Hold on 1 second. Now, what they're basically doing now is trying to make me feel fearful that if I get caught camping, get caught hiking, that I'll be arrested. And if I get arrested, I'll lose my social security. Part of that text message literally even proved that what they try to do is keep you in a non-stop victimized mindset about what's going to happen to you now, what's going to happen to you next, and what's going to result pertaining to what they're going to do next. Okay, so I literally am going to make another video picture of that text message tweet. It was a text message, and then I put it on Instagram, and then my stating that they were getting around me and saying that earlier in the day was a tweet that I made and posted on Twitter based on what I heard at a location that's close by this one. Absolutely. That proves right there that they were doing that. Now, see, my name is Leslie Williams. The whole goal for them, see, what you got to understand here, they put you in the homelessness and then they try to monopolize on it. Now, the whole entire goal at the end of the day is probate control for exploitation, to either co-opt your existing finances or through clever techniques, have you taken off of Social Security, then throw you back out on the street, wait until enough police reports can be made about your homelessness, try to imply you're mentally ill, including even petitioning you in the county mental health after a staged event, and staged events in gang-stalking expeditions are called street theaters. Google that term. See, to get the syndicated probate control, they got to have normal appearing, legal appearing excuses to take it. Police reports, doctor reports. Remember how at the beginning I talked about diagnosing the target individual with a mental diagnosis they don't have? And that comes about after a syndicated cop comes into your physical presence after some bullshit excuse is used concerning why he knows you're there, like somebody calling him because you were seen or heard. These are the schemes of GangStalk. And then what they do is they take this paperwork, the police reports that are made over a long period of time where they try to say, well, Miss Williams has a long history of homelessness. She's claiming she's being stalked by people she don't know. And we believe that she's homeless because she's mentally ill, because she's claiming she's being stalked by people she don't know. So we better make her a ward of the state. And then once they make you a legal ward of the state, they apply for federal and state benefits in your name, Social Security, Social Services benefits, and insurance, and the gang stalking continues in these homes. Now, is this why they might stage an event at a Social Security office so they can ban me permanently so I can never, ever reapply for it in my name? Because after they take me off Social Security, which they're preparing to do right now, and then they start arresting me claiming that I'm mentally ill because I'm claiming I'm being stalked by people I don't know, even though I am, okay? And then they can try and put me in a psychiatric ward. Then that doctor, what they'll do is diagnose me with bipolar or paranoid schizophrenic, whatever. I could take that diagnosis and apply for Social Security. But I can't do that if I can't go in a Social Security office now, can I? But once they get syndicated probate control, they can apply for it in my name without me even being there. Do you understand? Go to Google right now and type in Social Security and gang stalking. Social Security, Social Services and gang stalking. Social Services workers and gang stalking. Social Security workers and gang stalking. Hold on. See, excuse me for taking a bite. Hold on a second. Now, all the while, you can't prove none of this was covertly managed and overtly and directly executed, because the lying, filthy San Diego police officers and San Diego sheriff's deputies, including the ones in detention centers and their doctors, are nothing but criminal whores who are taking orders from criminal syndicates. Absolutely. Absolutely. And if you don't think that human trafficking is not going on in these homes, these group homes, think again. So is voyeurism.